44 fans, Tim at CRE here in San Diego, California. Fires haven't got us yet, so I'm still working on 944s day in, day out, a lot of times on Saturday morning, Sunday morning too. But here's an awfully interesting, fun discovery. You just got to keep your eyes and ears wide open when you're working on these old cars. They're 30-something years old, and you never know what you're going to run into. So this is a 16-valve 944S, okay, 2.5 liter. And it came in needing some work, and thought, well, we're going to check out the situation on the car, like a PPI, and see what else we see besides the normal stuff. So I pulled the valve cover off, and this thing does have a true valve cover, not a cam housing. And you ain't gonna believe this. Like, I've never seen this before. So watch what we see here. Going down in now. Put some light on this, and this is a 16 valve, head open. You see the twin cams and stuff. You can see right here where the two bolts, where the on the pedestal, we call it, where the tensioner is supposed to mount to keep the tension on this timing chain. So basically a bicycle chain between the two camshafts, right? So exhaust camshaft and then timed with the intake camshaft. So here is a healthy tensioner. It's used. I got the hardware just zip tied in place just to keep track of it. It's one of my spares. You can see there's a little bit of wear. There's little tracks on top, but not bad at all. Bottom pad is about the same. And so those really hard plastic compound, it's some kind of nylon or Teflon or something like that, are what keeps the bicycle chain sliding and not you know, and the distance is critical there too. They're part of the distance between the chain halves, but they're supposed to make that thing slide. Okay, so this is what we have coming off of this car. Here's a healthy set of pads here too, by the way. They're probably going to go in. This guy had absolutely no pad on it, and the bicycle chain, you can see the two sets of edges of the gears, the teeth on the chain were digging right in. I mean, that groove is easily, 2-3 millimeters deep. Yeah, so there was no sign of any pad, top or bottom, of this tensioner. Look at the wagon rut that wore into this tensioner. That is deep. That's easily 3 millimeters deep. I don't know how this car didn't skip timing, bust the chain, something. The only evidence that there was ever a pad in there is right here. You can see just the busted off piece. The screw is still in there. See that little Phillips screw? It's still in there, but it's way backed out. Other Phillips screw is completely gone. It's completely gone. And that little ring that you see just right there in the center is actually this one of those little raised columns right there that the Phillips screw goes in. So looking at this head, I don't see any evidence that there was a pad in there. I mean, I don't see any pieces of the tensioner, slider pad, nothing, just gone. And so I'm surprised, and I think, oh wait a minute, I lied. Look right down in here. Look right down there. I see a little hunk of, let me get a light over there, little piece of tensioner pad right there between underneath the cam lobe and that pedestal. So I'll look in here a little bit more. Maybe I'll blast some air to make sure there's nothing free floating around in here that's going to do any damage. But isn't that incredible? I've never seen this. I don't know how the car was running. That's one for the record books, man. And do you chalk that up to Porsche engineering, that it was able to run like that and still not skip time, or what? But just insane. And the rest of the motor doesn't look bad. I mean, you can see these have magnesium halves here on the S cars are famous for delaminating the metal. We call it exfoliation. So you get a gap that's way bigger than this right here as the two halves are pushed apart from each other. There's a couple pedestals in there that exfoliate and actually push the front cover away from the rear cover. The bad news there is that the rear cover is what mounts your distributor rotor. The front cover is what mounts your distributor cap. So those two move further and further away from each other. Not so good for performance. So we're going to reseal this cam housing, cam valve cover right here, and we're going to fresh seal. We're going to put new spark plug seals around those guys, fresh perimeter seal around it, and let's see if we can get this thing running the way it's supposed to. Holy crap, that was a really shocking discovery, man. Really, that's one for the record books. Never seen it. So 16 valve 944S, your S2 and your 968, all those guys have the 16 valve systems. With the 968 being even more complex with its variable cam timing. So you got to pay attention to the tensioner pads in those cars. The bicycle chain that's in there timing the cams. It's a little bit more complex, but you get a little bit more power out of the S. It's like 30 more horsepower out of the S, but it breathes deep and hard, but only at a high RPM. So there's a trade-off there. They were prone to stalling out. Porsche did a couple of things to keep them from stalling out at idle, just because they did not like to run at low RPM. So anyway, keep an eye on your 16 valve gear. That stuff that's specific and special to the 944 S's, S2s, and 968. You'll be happy, because these heads are getting more and more rare. Just be trying to find one that's not cracked. All right. So take care of your 944, and we'll see you next time.